up. I gotta hype myself up. Hi guys, how's it going? People everywhere. What's up? My name is Ronaldo Malcolm. I am one half of the writer's source. The other one is my lovely wife, who I believe may be viewing elsewhere. And who do I have here?
Taylor, I'm author of False Start, and my author name is Tay Monét.
Oh, tight. So, what caused you to take on a pen name versus, your government?
Ooh, great question. One, I like the sound of it, and two, it gave me like a platform, a barricade from my real life and what I wrote in the book. Although the book is about my real life, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
Like a point of separation.
Yeah. Keep the art separate. That way you can live your own life.
Right.
And so it happens if someone that that you wrote about picks up the book, they ain't got to come knocking on your door. So it all works out.
Exactly.
Cool. So again, Ronaldo Malcolm, Writer Source. If you guys want to hit us up on Instagram or YouTube, just type in Writer Source. And, we're always offering things like editing. I'm the editor, so I'm the one who will be reading all of your stuff, all up in your content, telling you where you need commas and such. And then beyond that, we also have a course on Thinkific called Heal the Writer. It's curated mostly by my lovely wife, and she just uses that to really make sure that the writer who's writing the book is healed internally so that they can effectively share their testimony. So we wouldn't want a person who is not right to tell their story, telling their story, and there's all types of toxicity coming out of it. So we got a course on Thinkific for like $47, I believe. I believe it's like on a sale. So be sure to check that out. There will be a link in the description, I assume, whenever I chop this up. But right now I'm gonna get into this interview because I am being graced by the great Tay Monét. Let's hit us with some icebreaker questions. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. We rehearsed these, by the way. So let's see how great she is at making up a thing. Question number 1, Miss Monét. What is one article of clothing that someone could wear that would make you walk out on a date with them?
Okay, so I gave it some thought, and I think if a date showed up in the shoes that you cut the grass with, they're like busted shoes, and we were at like a fine dining or somewhere, that would make me leave. And currently there's a trend. This is not an article of clothing, but the earring, it's like one earring that's really long.
Yes.
I'm not with that. Like, I wouldn't leave the restaurant, but I would just be like, I can't do this. Like, the whole time I'll be thinking about the earring. So that's a little superficial, but that's my truth.
What if he's like one of those like super suave, like, kind of like art pretty boys, and he's just like, yo, what's up, Tay? And he's got the dangling feather piece.
See, that's my thing. I don't like pretty boys. So that's probably why I don't like that.
I should have known. Legit, right before that got popular, I was legit. This is like maybe a few months before I actually met my wife. I was legit going to be like, because I was turning into one of those guys. I was a film major and I was writing. So I was like, I'm going to get a dangle. That'll really hold up together. And this.
What did your wife say about it?
Or she just okay, so she didn't know me at the time. And also she's like a little bit more like chill, laid back. Like she is not with all the wild stuff. So I don't know. I don't think she would have been with it.
See, we're finding already. Like,
I still wear skinny jeans from time to time, and she's still like, "Oh my god, did you accidentally put on my leggings? Huh?" Yeah.
See, I wouldn't probably tell him during the date, but like afterwards, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't feeling that." Like if we got closer, I'd probably be like, "Can you not wear that?"
So there's still a possibility that he could get close.
Yeah, like I'm not just gonna leave with the earring, but the shoes, he had to have a great story with why he came in busted shoes to like a nice date.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So I have a second question. Are you ready? It's a doozy. So. All right. Number 2, you have a late night talk show. Who do you invite as your I messed that up. You have a late night talk show. Who do you invite as your first guest?
Oh, that's not too hard for me because I'm gonna go with my girl Sarah Jakes Roberts because I love her and she's like my big sister in my head.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, she's definitely like I listen to her podcast, like Woman Involved. If you guys like need a new podcast to listen to, I highly recommend
Woman
Woman
Involved,
Involved
now
podcast.
streaming on Spotify.
Yes, she's hilarious. She keeps me current with what's going on in society because I don't watch the news. Yeah, so I be getting my news through the podcast.
Yo, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. I have a thread on my sweater. I tried to be like naked under the sweater because I thought it was going to be sexy, but I think I'm failing. Question number 3. If a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be? Who would play you? Can I guess who I think it's going to be? I know you already told me, but I forgot, so I'm going to guess.
Oh, okay. Yes, you can guess.
All right, so
you got to guess the genre and the actress.
Okay, so okay. If I'm guessing the genre, would it be safe to assume, like when the trailer happens, it'd be like based on the bestseller False Start? Like, would it be that, or is it totally separate from that?
Okay, so if we go movie, you can go that route. But if we do like TV show, then it's
that's right.
different.
Okay. All right. Based. Oh snap. So, based on what I know about you, which is not much, I would assume that this is going to be like a room. It's like a dramedy. So your vibe is kind of grownish. It's a little grownish, but with like, yeah, it's like grownish, but you ever see that movie Church Girl? It's so bad. But it's like,
is it on Netflix?
It's the one with Ja Rule and what's her name? Adrienne Bailon.
I think I saw like bits and pieces. I think it was on Netflix.
Yeah, so I imagine. Okay, so you would need like someone who's like light skinned, sort of. I feel like you could do that weird thing where people will take like a slightly darker person, but that they can play the character. Okay, so what if I forget her name, and this is not going to help. You know what? I'm just going to go with. I don't have the person's head in my name, so now I'm going to botch it. I'm about to botch it. You're probably going to hate me. I'm going to say Zendaya.
Oh, that's actually not bad because she could play my younger self. So that's not bad at all. I actually had thought about that, but I was thinking my genre would be like comedy drama.
Okay.
And the person that would play like grown up me would be Sanaa Lathan.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, she's great. Like that. She was in Brown Sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Her whole vibe, yeah. And then she looked like she used to run track.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Basketball, yeah. Like she's athletic, like so it works out.
Awesome. Well, that was fun, but I've got more fun. By the way, I don't know when I'm gonna snip this up, so I'm gonna just like casually insert it in there. Make sure you get False Start by Tay Monét, now available on Amazon. Bam, there she goes. Oh, so like this is new for me. That's all the running clips, but like I set this up. The idea was this was supposed to be playing while, yeah. But I botched it, and they're off. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can use that for a promo or something. But yeah, so let's get into the editing skills. Yeah, all that stuff you see on the writer source. That's all this kid right here.
That's what's up.
I be getting it in. All right, are you ready for some serious questions, yo?
Sure.
All right. Let's switch the mode. Let's do 10 seconds of serious face. Are you ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
You about to make me laugh because your serious face. Sorry, I laugh at everything. I laugh at super inappropriate times, which is what me and my best friend have a problem with. So, still working progress.
I don't know what it is. Like when someone tells you, "Hey, don't laugh," like it then becomes like the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all about that. Okay, so first question, very simple. What's your book about again?
So, so I named it or titled it False Start because I took a false start on life, so to speak, specifically relationships. So it follows my journey as an adolescent to young adult, young professional. And it just goes from like following my relationships with my high school sweetheart and how I battled with peer pressure in high school and how I ultimately like caved in and went against my beliefs and morals or judgment or character, so to speak. And then it goes on through college, our nasty breakup, me and my promiscuity, and other deep things that I didn't share with some of my close friends and family that they end up finding out like by the book. So, so yeah, cause I was too much of a punk. Like I dealt with like, oh, I didn't want people to judge me. I didn't want people to look at me differently. But you know, that's what took me like so long to write this book. But I finally got out there and I share like how you overcome that, how you break generational curses, and just learning from my experiences, my false start, so to speak.
Wow, that's awesome. Did anybody connect the dots like when they read the book and they were like, like, did that happen at all?
Yeah, so a lot of people are reaching out. It's like, oh, that's so genius, especially like since all the chapters
Yeah.
are songs. So that's why it's also called record of experience, like an album, record, music.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
yo, that's dope. That is so
So
dope.
some people were like, what? Like, yeah. So all
That's
the chapters are song titles.
hmm one. I think it's super dope that because when I first saw the subtitle, because I don't think you had the subtitle initially. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So when it said record, I was thinking, oh, running like record, like you're beating
Right,
your.
exactly. It's a play on words. Yeah.
Man, oh my goodness, you're like Kendrick Lamar.
I'll take it. I like Kendrick.
I like Kendrick too. Uh, so like, given that you had this whole process, you talked about specifically that you were trying to get over yourself initially, and sort of like some of that trepidation you had about people possibly seeing themselves within the book, and so like that process kind of took you a minute to actually even get the book done. But from the beginning, like what compelled you to even like start typing up your story, or what was the notion that compelled you to start sharing your story anyway?
Okay, so originally, back in college, right? I graduated a long time ago. So I had told my best friend in college, was like, hey, like I think I'm gonna write a book. Is she was like, go for it. Like she was super supportive from day one. But it took a totally different turn. Like my book initially is gonna be like on some Zane type of book. And but
Zane.
yeah, what you say?
Who was Zane?
Um, a Black author. Her books are more for like adult reading. To
Oh, okay.
like, so it was gonna be like not as graphic as hers or like all out in left field, but it wasn't. It took a turn once like I started getting back in church, and that's when I started hearing the Holy Spirit. Like, you really need to put this book out there because other people are gonna relate and it's gonna help them. Like at first, initially, it was like a selfish thing, like, haha, I'm gonna write this. And I wasn't even gonna tie myself to it. I was just gonna write it, and I was gonna write about like people I knew and everything. But it took a totally different turn,
Wow.
and that's what when it took the turn. That's when I was like, oh, I don't want to write this anymore. Like this is too
Wow.
personal. Like I'm too vulnerable in this book.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
amazing. So Zane, she writes, more adult, sexier type reading. And so you're like, I'm a that is my calling. So this kind of started before you like your walk with God became reinvigorated. And so now we're seeing the product of something that started before God like pulled you back. And so it kind of morphed into like you telling this much deeper, richer personal story.
Right.
That's amazing. That makes so much sense because I remember just like reading the book. I'm like, man, this is sexy reading.
And it was actually like worse than that initially.
Oh
I
man,
before you got it. So,
that
so yeah.
I do think it's amazing. Like when like God is like, oh no, it's still the same thing, except I'm gonna put a
Yes,
spin on
exactly.
it.
that's what it was. Like he definitely like took control and showed me like how to go about it a certain way, what to cut, like what to leave, what to share, because certain things I didn't even want to share or put in there. Like, yeah, so definitely he had his way with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's legit. If you're again, if you're watching this, I do recommend you go get the book False Start, A Record of Experience.
Yes, experience is so perfect.
Experience. Oh, it's supposed to be plural. Okay, well, I still botched it. It's now available on Amazon. Yeah, go get it. And it's a nice good read, so you can read it before you go to bed, or if you're at the cafe, you can get your hot mocha, white chocolate, whatever, and then just crack it open. It's a really really good read. I guarantee you'll be blessed by it. Blessed. Who am I? TD Jakes. Anyway. So. You kind of already hit on it, but maybe we can get some extra details out of it. What did writing this book specifically do for your journey as a believer?
So it actually like freed me from the opinions and thoughts of others, and it made me focus on what God thought about me. Right. So initially I was like, I don't want to write this because I don't want to be judged and all this other stuff that come along with that. Like, because people can be hurtful with me. And I had to learn to get over like people opinions and thoughts of me. So it freed me from that, like people bondage. And it also like showed me like my mom used to always tell me people don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. And this process actually like solidified that for me. So.
Wow. That's amazing. So like, and I'm going off script here. Have you heard any testimony or have you gotten, I know you've gotten a lot of like really great feedback from the book. Yeah. So do you mind sharing like sort of the positive repercussions that you've had since the book got released?
Yeah. So what's crazy is like, one, I wasn't expecting like so much support. Like I thought it was going to be totally opposite, right? But it was like I see so much support and feedback. I lead a women's e-group through my church, but my e-group, so like one of the ladies she like leads another e-group too, and they combined my e-group and their e-group to have like a book club. So they've been reading my book, and everybody's been sending me like positive messages like, oh my gosh, girl, this is so good, da, da, da. But you know what's been blowing my mind like the most is the guys. I wrote this book like thinking that it was going to be more tailored to females because I'm a female, but I'm getting a lot of male response, and it was like, yo, you have time to talk about this? Or like I really felt this part, like, but like I was like mind blown because I'm like, I really thought my ladies would be like the ones to be reading. I didn't even think, no offense, you can read books like that. So I was like, wow, like, yes, like, yeah, text me, call me, whatever, we could talk this out. So I've been getting a lot of positive male response, was not on my radar at all.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, like, it's kind of an interesting thing. Oh, I'm gonna put you onto some guy culture. You have women that dudes are just like, yeah, she cute. You know what I'm saying? I might talk to her or whatever. And then you have like women who are just chill and they're like easy to talk to. Right. So it's just like, oh my gosh, that's like, those are usually those are the type of women that dudes typically want to marry. Cause she's like, oh man, you could talk to her like she's a dude. And I think like you have like a really very chill, cool demeanor and it shines through your book. So like, I found myself like there, I think there was one scene, I think where you were just talking to a guy on a couch. By the way, slight plug, I have to like praise you because of some of your imagery. Well, actually, a good lot of your imagery, the way you things in the book are so like visceral. It almost feels like I'm there, and that sounds like that's like I feel like I was there, but like no, the way there's one, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a scene that you paint where you are at a medical facility, and good God, all the eeriness, all the discomfort that you felt, like I felt like I was there. I felt like I was in the room, sitting, waiting there next to you, and it felt really cold. Goodness gracious, like.
Thank you.
Right there. But yeah, you have a very, very, I think, inherently casual, calm, chill demeanor. And there's a lot of relatability that comes with that. So it's like, of course, your ladies are going to relate to you, because you're talking about stuff that a lot of women go through, but also like men, it's something that really engages your male counterpart. And I think that's something really unique about, a young Black woman who's telling your story, because you don't often get a lot of that.
But I also have to thank you because you edited, right? You edited my book. So I feel like you also brought that portion too. Like maybe like your edits help reel in the mails too. Like, yeah, I wrote the book, but I think your editing also helped reach a
Thank
certain
you.
demographic.
Thank you so much. But I, you get all the praise on that one. And Jesus and God praise,
Right,
praise
right.
always. He could,
Amen.
yeah,
Yes.
we could just start off like right then. But yeah, God is awesome. I'm looking through my questions. This is what it sounds like when I read in general. So here's a wild question. Would you consider yourself a good writer?
So initially, like before, I never thought of myself as a writer. Like I'm more of a math science person. Like I work in medical field, like clinical research. So I'm dealing with numbers and science. So writing never been like on the forefront for me. Like I never really liked grammar or English class. I hated writing papers. I actually got a C minus in undergrad. Like so I was like, cool, I got my C minus, I can go on and get out of here. Like so this was shocking to me when I was like, okay, yeah, I'm really doing this. Like, and that also brought some like self-doubt a little bit initially when I started, because I'm like, yo, I don't always talk like correctly. So it's like I'm gonna write this book if I don't even talk in proper English. So let's see about this. But you know, that's when editors come in and they can help you get that right. So yeah. Initially I didn't think so, but after like the finished product, I'm like, I'm proud of my work.
Awesome. That's probably the most enlightening. Oh God, I can't talk. Take two. That is probably the most enlightening, I think, aspect out of it. You know, you felt like you weren't super equipped to share your story because of, you know, silly things like, oh, you know, my grammar isn't whatever. By the way, grammar, language, the human language, it's always changing. And, you know, people of melanin seem to always kind of be at the forefront of it. So, in my opinion, you're at the cutting edge of human language. Who's at the door? Who's at the door? Sorry. You're always at the forefront of the English language, but still, through all that, you know, you hired yourself an editor, you took the proper steps, and you just pow out the way, which really has to write. That's all you have to do. You just have to work through it. And at the end of it, you're like, yeah, I did a good job. So that's amazing. So, you know, encouragement to anyone who wants to write a book out there, like, right? But I'm just saying it does the opposite direction. Anyway, so now we're going to move on to some more writer-specific questions because, you know, we're the writer source and we're encouraging people to share their story and share their testimony. So first question, was it difficult telling your story through your writing? And if so, what made it difficult?
Initially was difficult. I think the most difficult part was just me being vulnerable. Like, I'm about to be vulnerable with the whole world. In my head, the universe, like everybody's gonna read this book. And that's not realistic, but that's what was the hurdle I had to get over. It's like, oh, everybody's gonna have like access to this book and I'm gonna be exposed. Like I carry myself a certain way, and now people are gonna see the real me, right? But I had to come to realize like that's the past and everybody has a past. So
right. Cool. I want to bring up a quote we had like one online Q&A, or not Q&A. We had a sort of an online, I guess, coaching thing, consultation. Maybe that's the right word. My wife knows these terms better than I do, where we actually discussed the specifics of some of the edits and the notes that I gave her. And she said, and I quote, "I don't want people to think I'm Superhead."
Yeah, I did say that. Like, I didn't want it to get that vibe. I didn't want to get confused with like a tell-all book, but I wanted it to be more so like, hey, this is my journey, learn from my mistakes. And that's how I wanted it to be presented.
Yeah.
And this is what the feedback I'm getting is that. And I'm like, cool. Because like you said, like the book was written with like multiple people involved, some being professional athletes. So like I had to change the the teams, the locations, names, all that good stuff. But at the same time, it's like it's still my story to tell.
Right, right. And by that, like you're just like it's not a. I think a lot of times when people are sharing their story, they think like the their laundry list of mistakes, which everyone has, is going to be the highlight of the story. But it's just like no, there's so much victory and there's so much to be said about like what you gain from that is infinitely more powerful of the book. So it's just like the mistakes or the sort of backdrop for the come up, it's just the setup. Like so like all of your slight shortcomings or whatever are nothing in comparison into like the revelation, the testimony, and the victory that comes from it. So yeah.
Nail on the head. Yes. That's exactly what I was going for.
And some of these questions are starting to sound alike. What roadblocks did you come across while writing?
Time management. One, because I kept putting it off, like, oh, I get to it, I'm gonna do it. Another roadblock was finances, because like I didn't think writing a book would be this expensive, but here we are. But I mean, when God says do something, He's gonna make a way. And I had to get over the fact, because I'm the type of person that plans, right? Okay, I need to know this. Right. And God would tell you the next step, and He's like, okay, do this first. Then I reveal to you what's going to come next and how this is going to happen. So I just had to like trust God and know that He's going to provide.
Awesome. There's a follow-up question I was thinking, but I couldn't formulate it in my head. I still can't. Maybe I'll come back around to think of it. So next question. What was your habit? So like what rhythm, like what kind of routine as you started to write, like what formula worked for you best in terms of being consistent with your writing?
So initially I started writing this book in 2013. Here we are in 2020. I just now released it, right?
Wow.
It took a lot of talking to other people that I had told that I was going to write this book. And it was like, basically, you're not getting any younger. You need to get this out. People need to hear your story. So basically, like building up my confidence enough to share on such a level. Once I started getting it done, because I journal. So I also had like some of the events that happened, I had journaled. So it's like, oh, I can just go to my journal and like pull from there. So that's probably why certain things was like so vivid, because like I had wrote about it already. So when I actually started writing consistently, I made an alarm on my phone. So usually it was like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have a certain alarm to go off, like, you need to write. Like, crank out a chapter, even out a chapter, just a few pages. Like, just consistently write. So once I started consistently writing, then I got other people involved. So I was like, hey, I asked a friend, like, if you look over this chapter for me, I ain't wrote the chapter yet. So now I got to write it so they can review it. So, like, having people to hold me accountable. So, like, things like that. So. Wow. And then I set a deadline. So I turned 30 this year, and I was like, I'm getting this book out before I turn 30. So I made this deadline last year that I was going to have this book published before I turn 30. Sorry
for the look. I didn't know you were 30. I didn't.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. I graduated college like a while ago. I know. I don't look my age, so I've been told.
Wow. Okay, that's outstanding. So maybe another big takeaway is start cardio immediately. It's working out. But yeah, no, I think that's really, it's like, so your best critic will always be yourself, and your best coach, even though like the writer source, we're coaches and we coach writers, but really your best coach is always going to be yourself. You know yourself. So it's always good if like you have trouble writing, and just go ahead and sabotage yourself. Sabotage your laziness by letting your friends know, hey, in a week, can you read a chapter I've written? And I haven't written the chapter. So then now you have a reason to work towards something.
Exactly. You got to make a plan. Like you said, you know yourself better than anyone else. So make a plan that you know that you stick to, and you're committed with. Like don't do something that's so far-fetched. Like me saying that I was going to write every day, I know I wasn't going to do that. So that's why I did like 3 days. out of the week, I can do that. So
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, that's so great. And then it's like you took back in when I graduated from high school, I legit was like, all right, I think this is the era of me becoming sexy. So then I started asking all of my athlete friends, what do I need to do? How do I start working out? And they were like, just work out. All right, how do I start eating better? Stop eating chips. It was very basic information. And so the issue that I was having was like, I couldn't bring myself mentally to do it. And so one day I just had a friend who was just like, you have to make yourself do it. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So yeah. And it's been an up and downhill ever since. So
hey, I say at least one day is better than none. So I mean, it starts as long as you start, you usually get better. You form a habit. It takes time.
Absolutely. Right. And also, just like you have to, I'll say you have to learn to adapt as well, because I was on a solid health journey, but then the pandemic hit, and right now you're looking at like this right here. This is all pandemic snacks.
Yeah, I think the pandemic 15 is going to take over instead of like the freshman 15. It's about to be the pandemic 15. So that's real. Like, I think everybody's taking on some pounds.
Yep. All right. Next and final question. I'll probably have a follow up after this. Why should people buy your book?
Because it's real, it's relatable, and it's going to break generational curses.
Whoa, generational curses.
Yes.
That's amazing. Cool. And what's next for you? Are you going to write another book? You're going to go on some speaking engagements? What's happening?
No, I've been asked, people like, are you going to write another book? And that's to be determined. We're going to stick a pin in that, because depending on how like something plays out, then I'll write another book. Right. But it's not related to this book, but waiting. We in the waiting phase right now. So we'll see.
Okay. Take your time. 7 years, you really took your time, and I don't mean that in a condescending way. But yeah, that's fine. Take your time. I will be happy to read another Tay Monét project.
Oh, thank you.
Great. So where can people find you on social media? What are we looking for?
So you can follow me on IG, TayMonét_com. So it's like a play on TayMonét.com. I'm on IG, Facebook, Twitter, and you can go to TayMonét.com just to get like latest information, where to get the book. Like, it's your all be all information in one link. So
awesome. This has been so much fun.
Yes, it has. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it, and you guys are awesome. So I'm so excited and proud and elated that I got to work with you guys. And hopefully, if I write another book, you guys will definitely be my go-to editors.
Boom. So I just imagine like in your next book is probably going to be some like, maybe it sounds like maybe it might go in a fictional route. I'm not sure, but I'm down for that. So I'm like officially like a Tay Monét fan, and I think aside from my wife, of course, I think you're probably maybe my favorite writer that we've worked with so far. So
yay!
In post edit, I'm gonna put like a crown on your head with like some. I don't know how to do that yet, but we'll make it work.
Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me. This, like you said, it's been an honor.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been a joy working with you guys.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So again, False Start, a record of experiences. There it is. It is now available on Amazon. Is it on Kindle?
Oh, yes. So you can get it in ebook and paper format. So
awesome. Paper format. Just go ahead, buy two, one for you.
Yeah, the holidays coming up. Yeah, go ahead and gift it to one of your loved ones.
Absolutely. What she said. So that's all we got. Thank you so much again. And we will see you on the next one.
Yes. Bye.
Be a decade from now. Bye. See ya.